Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Bookbreakrs podcast. I'm Alan and I'm joined as ever by the Fountains of Reason. They nicknamed themselves, so
Don't think we did.
I'm not sure.
Don't think we did either, to be honest.
One of you did.
And you still didn't get it right.
Why?
Voices of
What?
Reason.
No, it's the Fountains, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, but it took you about 4 weeks to get that. Like,
Oh yeah. No, it took me ages to remember that. Right. So let me just step down through the agenda for this week. So this week, the Premier League is over now. So the two lads are going to review the season from their own close perspective. So Paul is a staunch United fan and Enda is a staunch Liverpool fan. So they're going to review their own kind of club seasons, but they'll also comment on the season of their counterpart as well. So that should be interesting. We're then just going to have, one thing that we learned this season. We'll then review the private league that we've had running on the app, the Bookbreakrs app, which we'll touch on later. And then we'll quickly recap Europa. And at that stage, Paul is going to be all Man United out, I think, at this stage. And finally, we'll touch on the Champions League final tomorrow. So let's kick it off, lads. Review the season for us there, Paul, from a United perspective. And can you go on mute? He's laughing already.
So it started badly. The middle was not as bad, and then finished badly. Really, to sum it up very quickly. Yeah. I think there was no great surprises for me. I think maybe one surprise was that Cavani was more effective really than I thought he could be. I thought, like, having been out of the game for quite a while, in fact PSG didn't seem keen to offer him a new contract. I thought maybe his best days are behind him, which probably to a degree they are, but I mean, he's been phenomenal for us. One of the few standout players, I think, this season. But we've had the whole goalkeeper debate throughout the season. Is it him? Is it him? Will it be either of them next season? Who knows? We've the same centre back debate that we have, I think, every season since Vidic and Rio left. We still have a problem there. Same problem we have in midfield. Again, no surprise. If you look back at last summer, we were linked.
But you don't have a midfield.
Well, no, that's the point.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't have. But we got guys who
you have a back six.
Players.
You have a back six. You have a massive gap, and then you have 3 or 4 lads and Cavani
that have no chance really when you think about it. That's what the problem is really. You're setting up with 7 defensive players if you include the goalkeeper, and then it's leaving those 4 attacking players to do everything from the halfway line forward, which really it hasn't worked for us. So I mean, last summer we were high profile. Potential signing was Jadon Sancho, right winger. I don't believe we've had any problem as such on the right wing this season. I don't believe that's one of our weak areas, but lo and behold, we've been linked with him again this summer. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was a disappointing season. The manager who just continually contradicts himself. The protests didn't affect the players, and then we lost to Liverpool. That did affect the players, and you don't need to win trophies to be successful. You need to win trophies to be successful, but then you don't. He doesn't win any trophies, and he gets a new contract anyway. So, I mean, I don't know.
Is he going to get a new
contract? As bad
contract?
as it gets. Yeah, but just so the papers are reporting today, he's getting a transfer kitty and a new contract this summer, which beggars belief. It really does.
Digging a hole deeper.
I'm kind of in the camp of. I know you're in the camp of get him out. I am in the camp of give him one more season. Maybe not a full season, but give him another transfer window, and with the caveat that he sorts out the stuff he needs to sort out, i.e. the goalkeeping situation, i.e. Pogba, Fernandes. I think only one of them can survive. He's got to be ruthless, and I think if he can try and do that, then I'd be interested to see how he would get on next season.
Who's going to tell him to sort that out?
Well, he's got the most ruthless man ever always sat in the stand, so maybe he can have a word in his ear.
But that should be coming up from your higher up, really, shouldn't this? Should be your chairman saying, "Listen, you need to sort this out."
He is higher up, effectively, isn't he? He's on the board, but I think that must be difficult as well. I think it's been difficult for every manager.
He's window dressing. That's all he is.
He's kind of there in the background the whole time. The greatest manager, the club has ever had, if not in British football history.
Where do you stand on?
It's history repeating itself, isn't it? They had the same problem with Busby.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah. He actually came back as well, didn't he? For a while.
He did, and I don't know if you probably wouldn't watch it, but that the United Way documentary that's come out on Sky this week.
Must have missed that one.
If you're not a United fan, I don't know if it'd be something really that you'd muster up the interest to watch. The
end of the storm. No, that's a good one.
But I mean that touched on the fact that Busby was kind of in the background the whole way through, and I guess Fergus they'll do the same documentary.
Yeah, he's there. He's there, but he's not
trained at a good club.
He's not trying to, weasel his way back in. Like, he is there as a mentor. Like, I don't think that's an excuse at all. Where do you stand on the lack of a preseason ball? That's come up by a few. Been mentioned.
Yeah, but in that's affected us. Well, I mean, right? You could look at that as affecting you in the first few weeks, but it's not. You can't say that that's been affecting you in March, April, May.
Well, I mean, in terms of a long season, like.
It was a shorter season than anyone else's if we didn't have to do a preseason, really, isn't it? And, it's
but they came in straight from the. Having the longer late season last year.
Yeah, but I mean, you had teams there that suffered badly with COVID. There was I think Newcastle had a good few cases of it, and there were big players that kind of.
Man City had a load as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
what was it? Two cases and they got 2 weeks off. Jeez, that was awful, wasn't it?
I think everyone has totally forgotten about that. They got a game called off.
I haven't.
How did that happen?
One staff member, two players, and the biggest club, the biggest squad in the city, in the league, and suddenly they get 2 weeks off, and they go on this big, massive run, and everyone forgets about the whole cheating. Yeah, I mean, they're financial open for years, and they still have to pull a stunt like that.
Yeah. All right. United had to play 3 games in 5 days. We couldn't get one.
I know.
We couldn't get any fucking leeway on that. Anyway,
and you didn't show up to any of them.
A disappointing season. Basically.
So do you want to comment on the Liverpool season?
I mean, Liverpool season, as we've kind of all discussed off the air, Liverpool have been blighted by injuries to key players, which will affect any team. But ultimately, I think they have similar issues to what United have in that they're lacking quality in certain positions and they don't have squad depth, which I mean I think they've already started addressing that today. They've made the first big name signing of the summer. I think Klopp generally seems to get his business done early, whereas United seem to leave it till deadline day. Historically, that's always been the case. I don't know why that is, but I mean, what could have been a very disastrous season for Liverpool, they finish it up well, to be fair.
Championship form towards the end, 8 wins and 2 draws.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, so I mean, let's see how the start of next season. But put it this way, Klopp isn't under any pressure. He's bought himself plenty of time there to finish second and third for quite a while.
Do United's problems stem from the very top?
Well,
as in
ultimately, it's the man that appoints the manager, as far as I'm concerned. Whoever that man is, I firmly believe that the manager is the problem at United at the moment. He doesn't have, he's no charisma. I think, like, there's a fable that goes around Manchester that's got a bit of weight to it, in that he readily admits he doesn't do any coaching. He's a man manager, and his coaches coach the team. Like, if that is the case, lads, and we're beyond being a laughingstock. I mean, the only thing more embarrassing than actually winning the Europa League final is actually losing the final. You know what I mean? It was, if we had won that, it wouldn't have been any great achievement, really. But I can't believe there's a man in charge of one of the biggest teams in the world who doesn't do any coaching.
Define the United way now.
The United way.
Yeah, define the United way. Remember, we all heard about the United way, how it was all attack and expansive football. Define it now.
This is the old fable, about you've got the West Ham way and the Spurs way.
Yeah.
So Arsenal's way must be like, 10 men behind the ball, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Is that the Arsenal way? Football evolves. The United way now is seven defensive players and 4 attacking players.
But
we're relatively lucky that we've got a few decent attacking players, because if we hadn't...
Are you the biggest club in the world?
No, not by a long shot. Not as far as I'm concerned, no. You can't... it's easy to say that as a United fan.
Look, I think all these questions, I don't think anyone is believing that kind of stuff. So let's...
No. I just want to get to my point, right? My point is it's rotten from the top down. Okay, United have gone away from success on the football field to success is turning over money every year. Okay,
but that's 100 clubs.
That's 100 clubs. But for the storied United way, they don't care about the dog feces that you're watching on a Wednesday night versus the Yellow Submarine. They don't care as long as some Malaysian is somewhere in the Far East buying a United jersey and eating prawn sandwiches. Okay. That's the problem, and you've got a guy.
Is it any different?
You've got a guy. What?
Is it any different?
It is because the guy over the guy over it is a football man. He gets like we're talking Michael Edwards versus Ed Woodward here, Alan. If you want to discuss that, like.
Yeah, no, I think the point I would make there is that.
They've gone away from trying to play football.
So United were probably the first club in the world to really cotton on to the commercial side of things. And in theory, that should be good. That should give you the money you need to then buy the best players. Like in theory, it makes sense. I think the problem Liverpool have is also, you could say, impacted by that. Like, you're probably less of a force on the commercial front. Maybe you are more football focused. But as a result, you don't have budget for the very best players. And I think Klopp's done a great job.
Okay.
But he's done a great job of finding the right players for his system. And he's probably a better manager in that regard. But, every club has this problem.
When your business doesn't work, what do? Throw money at it. Yeah. So Ed Woodward takes this into football management. Let me finish my point now before you come in, and you can refute it if you want. So Edward takes this into football management. We're not doing well in the field. What do? Throw money at it. That didn't work. Throw money at the managers. Throw experienced managers. That didn't work. So what's next on his checklist? We'll do what the fans say. Yeah, and he did what the fans say. He got Jose Mourinho. That didn't work. Yeah, and then he went and he got Harry Maguire because the fans wanted him.
But this is why I think we're as well off to keep a hold of Solskjaer. Like, I don't think Ferguson did much coaching in his day. He always had excellent coaches. I think if we get rid of Solskjaer, that lets everyone else in the chain off the hook for another few years. And that's a bigger problem, in my view, than sacking him and replacing him. And then, the problem's fixed then, but it's not.
We discussed that this Michael Governor fella, he appears to be a football man, so for Man United, so that remains to be seen. The lad is replacing Woodward.
Right. And we're going to cut across you. I think you've covered United already, so maybe you can cover
in glory
the mighty pool.
Talk to me. What do you want to hear? Wow. How good they are, how bad they are, where they went wrong. Assess my season. Right. They didn't strengthen enough in the summer. They didn't add enough. I've harped on here about Moneyball and how it's great. It gets you so far, but then you have to invest. Invested in Virgil van Dijk, invested in Alisson, won the league. Could have, should have invested again and got more players in. Who did we get in? Jota, maybe. More players in, and then we would have been covered on the whole injury front.
And going back to that point, though, I don't think you've money to do that again. I think when you spent on Van Dijk, you blew the kind of the budget there, and it worked, but I
No,
don't think it's
no.
there again.
Coutinho paid for the two of them. So there was money there, but then you had COVID, and COVID let them off. I think COVID has let them off. Has let a lot of clubs off. Oh, no money to buy, so Jota. And like, two things: injuries and players freaking dropping off a cliff regards to form as well. And it was all just a perfect storm. You had your two centre halves go down, then your two midfielders went back into centre half. They went down. Then the lads you brought in to replace them went down as well. So,
was it a mistake Klopp to drop Henderson and Fabinho back into centre half positions? Do you think?
Yeah, possibly. But like, you look at Reece Williams and Nat Phillips; they've done all right. They're not great.
That's what I mean, though. I mean, would that have been the case earlier in the season if he'd given, young centre halves that they had at the club, or rather than taking, you're almost affecting two areas of your team.
I don't think they were up to it early in the season. I think maybe he wanted to give them a couple of weeks, couple of months training with the team first. Nat Phillips was going to Carolina to take up a college scholarship in America. Reece Williams was at Kidderminster Harriers last year. Do you know?
Okay.
And once they got the centre half situation sorted out, and they got their midfield playing in midfield, then you saw the shoots of the team going. But you had Bobby Firmino dropping off the cliff. He's so important to what everything, like, even when they were going well, if Bobby Firmino was off at 1%, the team would be off at 10%. And he's been off at nearly 100% this year. Like.
Yeah. I think that his form has definitely had an impact on it. Is there a problem with Mane and Salah?
They don't get on as well as I think so. They don't get on, and I think one of them should be sold. Mane, you get 35 million for him, and so that's already paid for Kanate. Then
I was watching that, Alisson's goal, and when they all started celebrating after. I think if you might have seen it already, but have a look back at that again, and you can see that Mane wasn't celebrating with the rest of them. He really wasn't showing the joy of somebody that, it was going to be a big deal to make it into the Champions League for next season.
Was that the game he walked off in?
No, I think that was the one before, wasn't it? Yeah, I think
if
something doesn't seem right there.
If you are selling him for 35 million, I'd have him absolutely. When you won the league,
I don't. Where would you put him though? He'd be just another one of your fast players, like, you have enough of him.
We play anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
Really,
sure, you have Rashford. Rashford's brilliant. Go Man United.
I wasn't wrong
go there.
And just to touch on the squad as well, right? So Moneyball then is like, it'll cost more to replace the lads we're selling than to bring them in. So we'll hold on to the lads we are and we'll maintain that level. No, as United proved, as the Chelsea teams proved, as Arsenal proved, have to add every year. They just, I don't know. They added Jota, and then Jota got injured as well.
Yeah. Right, lads, we're going to move on, right? To the second question. We'll just very quickly on this. So I'll go to you first, Paul. But what's the one thing you learned this season? And it doesn't need to be United. It can be anything.
No, well, I think I was thinking about this, and I think, I thought that maybe the art of scouting was something that was gone from football entirely. But then I started thinking about it, and when we did our team of the season, Thomas Souček's name popped up. So I think definitely myself and Enda picked him. Yeah. West Ham paid, I think, 19 million for him. In terms of the money that's going around these days, that's nothing. That the Kufal, the right back for them, 5.5 million. It appears to me
they've
that
already Paul, they've already signed a fella from Spartak Moscow. I think, again, similar type thing, small money, and they seem to be doing.
So this is, this is the problem with having money, really, isn't it? It's like any walk of life. If you have money, you'll waste money. Those who don't have money will be, a little more careful what they spend it on. And And I do think that there is a serious problem. I get it, the pressure at the top, and you need to get the marquee signings, and you need to win now. 2 years' time isn't good enough.
That's gone back
But
to
then,
the jerseys, right? Because if you want to sell a jersey, unknown Suchek isn't going to sell it until he becomes something. But as a Sancho will sell jerseys for sure.
well, yeah, I mean, it's like a vicious circle. Now,
Yeah.
you know, I remember the days when, you know, again, watching that United documentary and the Sir Alex Ferguson one was on recently, and you know, you're picking up players for, and I know, don't get me wrong, I know it was 30 years ago, but you were getting like world class players for £1 million, you know, and there weren't star players that people, you know, Peter Schmeichel. Who'd heard of Peter Schmeichel before United signed him? That was when you had guys out in the darkest reaches of Europe and South America and Africa, Asia,
Dennis Irwin.
and they were fine. Well, there you go. Seamus Coleman at Everton. Yeah, was it 60 or 90,000? They paid for him. You know, I just don't believe these people at the big clubs have that sort of a scout network anymore. I think it's just gone so lazy. Marquee signings is the easy way out. We have the money. You know, like I said, Harry Maguire, 80 million, sell a few shirts. He's paid for himself. Paul Pogba, his shirts will pay for himself. It seems to me that the bigger teams that have lost that art, but the art is not gone out of football, I think.
Yeah. And what's the one thing you learned?
Squad depth is not to be confused with squad quality. For me, I mean, it cost us run of the league. Look at City; they have quality throughout their squad. Now it's big as well, but there's quality in it. United don't have much of a squad. They didn't. Their season kind of dribbled away. Ours dribbled away at the start. Like at the start of the season, all the "You Never Walk Aloneers" were, oh, look at, we have Shaqiri and we've Origi's coming good and this and that. Naming all these lads. Yeah, but 5 years ago, them lads were decent. Not now. Also, like, that's great squad depth until you actually put them on and you see them trotting around and they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
if we all want to just shoot the lad doing VAR, I'd be really happy with that as well.
If you looked at United's bench the last day, I mean, it was absolutely shocking. The only player you could feasibly bring on with a bit of experience was Van de Beek.
And they didn't.
Right. So like, we'll leave it there, so lads, and we'll move on to the next section, which is our own private league. So I'll just take a minute to recap on the app. So basically, yeah, there he is. So basically, the app is so it's the Bookbreakrs app, and the whole reason behind the app is to enjoy football without losing money, or without losing lots of money. So if you bet on football and you're not successful, shall we say, this app could be for you. On it, you can find the top football predictors like Paul. And if you follow Paul, and Paul makes a banker prediction, which would be like his most confident pick, you get a notification when he does that. And if you're having a bet, you can follow him, or if you like it, you can follow him in. If you don't bet, there's a fantasy competition that's played off every month. So you just go in, you make predictions, and there's 250 quid in the pot every month. It's free to play. There's a season-long competition with 3,500 in the pot as well. So it's good entertainment throughout the season. And we'll look at the private league. So there's a private league feature in the app. So as well as the free competitions, you can just set up a competition with your own friends, and everyone can put 10 quid in or whatever. And there's good crack out of it. There was definitely good crack on the last day anyway.
Yeah.
It was all excitement, wasn't it? It was like the league last day as well. Like,
yeah. So
there was something to play for.
The absolute beauty of it was receiving the WhatsApp message from Enda celebrating his win when in fact all the results hadn't yet come in.
Yeah. Harry Kane's handball. Harry Kane handles that. It goes in. Then Leicester go chasing. And then it's 4-2. Whereas if it didn't go in, Spurs would have shot the load, and good luck. And Paul would be chumping to the champ.
I tell you, it's interesting because in that game, I think Paul, you said Wesley Fofana was on your team of the season, wasn't he?
He was.
And he went off after 30 minutes. And in play, I was watching that thinking, okay, this is risky for Leicester. But let's just have a quick look at the league. So you can see here, before it all started, Enda was leading narrowly by, that's rounded down, so he was winning by a few p. Then Paul was ahead for a while, then Enda was back in front, and then finally it ended like this. So before the final results come in, Enda was
convincing win, I think.
Yeah, it was a
convincing win. Right? Can I just say and refute again, which I spend a lot of time doing with G2. Right?
Very young
you missed one screen. The 5 minutes before that was 79.8 to me, and was basically reversed. So you can't carry Kane's handball there, Paul.
Yeah.
The old clap, ladies things added.
So Paul, the check is in the post.
Yeah, my money order is on the post. What's your address again, Paul? Sorry, bad reception. Bad reception.
There.
In the car here.
So just so people kind of understand then, a little bit more about the app. So you go in, you make a prediction, there's 4 markets on the app, match results, both the score, over under 2.5 goals and double chance. So you just make your selections. We track your stats as well. So here, this is the profitability rank. And as you can see for these 2 results, the Bookbreakrs community got them both right. So the bookmakers were offering 1.58 about Leeds, and based on predictions, the Bookbreakrs community priced that game at 1.25. They also strongly fancied Newcastle United, who were available at 2-1. The Bookbreakrs community made them 1.44 based on predictions. So when you predict, you get to see the crowd view. So if you fancy something, put your prediction in and see what the crowd thinks. Finally, we'll just jump quickly on to the upcoming games. So Champions League final tomorrow night. I've highlighted some of the stats here. So there's a toggle where you can toggle your stats to be either win percentage or rank. But yeah, we've got the Champions League final tomorrow, Manchester City, Chelsea. Enda, what do you fancy in that?
KG affair. I think Tuchel. If there's an interesting, they were discussing it off the ball there tonight, so I can't complain. I can't claim ownership on this idea, but I agree with it. Right, once someone gets in Pep's head, like Liverpool are in Pep's heads. They showed on this Blue Moon or whatever documentary it was. They were playing Everton, but before the game, he spent half an hour talking about Liverpool's front 3, and I think Tuchel's in his head. And historically, when someone's in Pep's head, he overthinks himself.
Yeah.
So I reckon, like I said in the Europa League final, and I was right, draw on 90 minutes. If you're going to have a bet, draw on 90 minutes. I think Chelsea will do it as well. I don't think Man City have played a team like Chelsea, like as well set up or with a coach that can counter everything Pep does as well this season. And I fancy Chelsea to do it. I think Mount will have a good game, and he'll have a good Euro Championships as well.
Yeah,
and he'll put the YouTube footballer Foden in his place.
Yeah, well, that's the big matchup, isn't it? So I'm sure Southgate will be watching to see who kind of shines in that one. Paul, what's your view?
I think probably 3 to 4 weeks ago, I would have been more confident that Chelsea would win. I still do think that Chelsea can beat them. It's the heart says Chelsea, the head says City probably are too good. I wouldn't like to put my house on either team, to be honest with you, because I think as Enda said, I think Tuchel has had a couple of good results against them lately that just might make Pep do something other than what he really should be doing, which is just playing his best team and the same style they've been playing all season. Which
pull a Leon on it.
Well, yeah. It's happened. I mean, bizarrely, Solskjaer seems to have his number as well, and in recent games, and that
Yeah,
if
but
he's got your number.
well, he has his number in sort of one-off games, but I think it's definitely going to be a cagey affair, and I think under 2.5 goals for me would be a strong pick in that one. City have built their success this season on defense.
I think Werner needs to turn up. He cannot. You're not going to get many chances against City. You have to take them when you get them.
He needs to stay on side.
Yeah, but I find it difficult to see it being a game where City will be camped in their half and then he gets the space to break. Like Chelsea, when Tuchel came in, he just really made them defensively tight. So I think both teams are strong defensively. I think I'd probably lean draw for a bit of value. I think if I was to choose, but definitely unders should have a great shout in this, and it's pretty decent price.
It's still a bit up in the air as to whether Kante is playing, isn't it? I think it's leaning more towards that he probably won't make the game. And if
that's a big swing now.
If it's Kovacic in midfield with Jorginho, I'd be considerably less confident.
Yeah, so would I actually. I'd swing the other way. If Kent is not playing, I'd swing the other way.
Yeah.
What's his injury?
He got injured in the not the Villa game. It was the Leicester game.
Right.
He picked up a knock in that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I've heard Tuchel a couple of times this week. He said now he's stopped asking the medical staff because he doesn't want to know. He'll wait until the day and then find out whether or not he'll
do Rafa, put on Harry Kewell and take him off after 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the other one here is at the back. His name is after escaping me.
For Chelsea, Zuma, Thiago Silva,
Christensen.
Thiago Silva. So he's never won it, I don't think, the Champions League, and he is, or was a Rolls Royce of a defender. And again, I can just see him one last hurrah type thing. I just think goals are going to be at a premium in this one. So whoever gets the first one, chances are.
And City don't play with a centre forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Next season.
Right, lads.
Let's not mention the war.
Let's not mention the war. But I think we've covered it anyway. But that's it for this week's episode. We'll be back again next week. At some point, we'll probably preview the upcoming season. But we'll be back next week with another topic to discuss. And thanks for your time, Paul and Linda. And that's
We'll go Man United.
Ciao.
Something like that.